Aquarius, this is your April 2024 soul story. If you've got a sun, rising or moon in the sign, you might find these messages resonate. It's Romy. Thanks so much for joining me on the channel. We're going to open up this month with the energy of the Three of Wands. It's an incredibly accelerated timeline in April, and that can feel very motivating and exhilarating, but it also might come with a little bit of frustration. What is it that you are feeling excited about? Because April wants you to dedicate more time to that, or to take the opportunity to figure out, you know, what you can bring in that's going to bring about a little bit more optimism about where to invest or direct your energy. The 3 says that increasing confidence is what's required in a situation through the month of April, and we can create all of the right conditions for something and expect it to unfold in a certain way, and yet we can still receive the curveball that puts us in a completely different place than we'd anticipated. And I want you to keep that in mind, because April, astrologically speaking, is kind of intense. We've got a Mercury retrograde from the 1st of the month in Aries, so important pieces from the past are coming back, and that actually can help you if you give yourself permission to be a little bit open-minded to what it's trying to show you. It could definitely show up as some lost in translation, or the need for you to make some last-minute changes in terms of the plans that you have in place for something. We might even need a couple of practice runs and some quick fixes in order to just get you to where you need to be this month. That doesn't have to change or affect the bigger vision or the overall outcome, but we definitely want to bring flexibility to the table in April. We've also, of course, got this really powerful solar eclipse coming in Aries on the 8th of the month, 19 degrees. And, you know, there's something about this. We've got the Daughter of Wands coming in here that's really igniting a belief that you've already held in regards to something. And there is this little bit of like, well, now or never, and you might get a bit of a shove from the universe. And this is where we could also anticipate somewhat of a curveball coming through, because there is something that needs to be added to a situation, or something that needs to be addressed or acknowledged in order for like a bigger part of your storyline in 2024 to play out. And you know, you've dealt with increasing intensity of challenges, you know, over the course of the last few months, and each and every time you've been able to do what was necessary, and you've had what it takes. And so just keep that in mind as well, because when the heat gets turned up a little bit through the course of this month, and you're finding yourself in a position where you're having to act and think very quickly on your feet, and it's maybe messing around a little bit with some of the plans and expectations that you held, everything is in its own divine time and order. There are definitely things that you haven't been able to see on the horizon that are going to actually form a really important part of your overall experience in this year. And so if you can in some ways try to almost ask yourself, what is it that I'm going to need at the end of this month? What is it I'm going to need by the sort of mid-year, by the end of the year? I think that's going to help you to perhaps make some better decisions, or certainly respond in a more balanced way to some of the things that are set to come through the timeline of April. There's a lot of creativity that gets kicked off, and you may well, with best endeavours, sort of head off down a track and quite quickly realise that actually you've taken on something, bitten off a little bit more than you can chew. But that's okay, because I think in the experience of it, it will help to clarify something for you. And, you know, maybe you'll put something just down for a short time, or you'll maybe realize that you have to sacrifice on something else, and again, that's going to be okay. When retrograde goes direct, I think that things will start to ease up a little bit more toward the end of the month and into the early part of May, and you might return to something with even more motivation. It is a bit of a push-pull in April because Aries season, beginning of the astrological year, the intensity of what's coming through is all very much kind of gearing and pushing and bringing with it this, you know, high level of wanting to feel motivated to take this really strong, inspired action around things. And you may just be like waiting for things to come together, or having to be patient in regards to like one item or one person or one thing, and that could get you more and more in a place of feeling irritated. So be mindful that, you know, on an emotional level, like the ability to kind of bring a little bit more temperance to situations might be a bit harder to access than normal, and that's okay. Just find ways to channel that. And you can always make use of your time. Remember, whenever you find yourself in a position where you might be waiting for something else to come together or to come through, you know, you don't just have to sit and kind of wind yourself up. Like what we're seeing with all of this fire coming through is that you have an incredible sense of determination and will to get something going and to start seeing something coming together. And that potential, if it's directed wisely, regardless of what else might have to come together, like you can still see the progress for yourself. And I think that's important. I think in this month of April, you know, Aquarius needs to see the progress somewhere. Or you know, you might find yourself in a position where you're really considering discarding, letting go, or kind of releasing something. Now, over and above this intensity of the solar eclipse in Aries, we also have this rare aspect of Jupiter conjunct Uranus and Taurus. Rare because it's last in this sign back in 1941, and it kind of brings a very powerful, iconic energy to the table here as well. And fourth house, there might be something going on a little close to home, something to do with property, with places that you're working, with family situations. There's set to be some big surprises. There's also lots of financial prosperity conscious energy sort of interwoven into that experience, so you might see some big shifts around that. We've certainly got something celebratory coming through with Three of Cups for you. Also support coming in a way that might surprise you, and it might not have necessarily be an approach that you'd considered, or, you know, as you reflect on something, you might realize now in and around that time of the month, you know, this is going to serve me much better based on how things have shifted through the beginning part of April. And maybe on the 1st or 2nd you would have never considered that, or never even like entertained it in some ways. So, you know, it's definitely a month where you come out of April and leave the month a very different person with very different perceptions about things and people, by the way, as well, because I think you're set to see some remarkable behaviors step forth, and I would hope for you that that's going to be in the sense of very supportively. However, what you might also feel is that, you know, someone's behavior, like you don't just have the same tolerance level for it as you once did. And I think through the month, you know, you might just find yourself having to communicate, or even if there's challenges around that communication through retrograde, you know, sort of hash out in your own mind how you're going to deal with something. And then toward the end of the month, maybe a few weeks away, you're going to put together a new strategy or deploy something that's going to create a major change within that relationship. And I think the lunar eclipse in Libra probably kicked that off quite powerfully for you toward the end of March. So pay attention to the themes that sort of have been sitting with you through April, because what you will find in this month is like everything feels exaggerated, like your feelings, your responses, like what's happening. And remember, eclipses often bring things in threes, you know, so we're set to hopefully have a positive run of information, news and events unfolding that can help to almost, in like the snakes and ladders capacity, kind of lift you 2 or 3 levels and help you to graduate. With that, you know, we've got these challenges that continue to kind of get in the way and become like nuisance energy, if you like. And, you know, I want you to remember that you're doing your best in a tough situation, and you are going to learn from something. There's a lot of water under a bridge that's already passed with, you know, a particular situation or relationship, but I feel that there's something maybe with the retrograde that brings it back around, and you're having to deal with something again that you thought had maybe been cleared and finalised. Now what I will say is that Juno, asteroid goddess, is stationing direct in Virgo on the 21st of the month, been retrograde since the 12th of January, in Virgo since October. And what we said is, you know, Juno rules relationships, partnerships, agreements, contracts, legalities. And so there was a lot that we were pouring over in a way that was quite critical and judgmental of what we were unhappy about, and what was coming to light that was preventing us from seeing a balanced, reciprocated opportunity for growth or continuation of an agreement. Now, as we station direct, we're going to have the capacity, the wherewithal, and the assertiveness to sit down and go, this is what it's going to take, this is what I need, this is what needs to happen. And we start to see things that can really help facilitate that movement forward. Now, you've got an awful lot of positive drive and momentum with all of this fire coming through, and something to celebrate. That said, there's still some aspect of this that feels like hard work. So however this is translating, whether it be connected to legalities, contracts, a specific relationship, there's a bit more of that kind of grumbling energy that's going on in April. At the same time, these high twists and turns and revelations that continue to keep coming thick and fast can make it a little bit disorientated. So you might have to keep checking back, withdrawing and clearing yourself, and just reminding yourself of what that bigger vision and what that bigger intention is. Otherwise it's very easy to get distracted, or to be sort of almost not manipulated but coerced slightly into something that perhaps is not exactly what you had foreseen for yourself, or ultimately will be the right way forward. Now, I did say you might have to make some quick fixes, like temporarily. So if there's something that comes up that says, look, can you just run with this or work with this for a month, 3 months, 6 months, and then a bigger shift will happen, I think that's maybe a little bit different. But just being mindful of what you're signing up or agreeing in the long term, when you know that some aspect of it is not what you asked for, not what you wanted, and ultimately not going to help you in the direction that you're trying to move in. So this is a month where you have to stand up and rise up, but not bringing resentment, anger, frustration, which is going to be really easy because they'll all be stirred up quite powerfully, but rather to bring through this kind of undeniable truth. And the full moon in Scorpio on the 23rd is really going to help facilitate that for you as well. So it's just like you can be in situations and just speak honestly, and have the power with your energetic presence actually to kind of really make people listen in regards to that as well. There are situations where you continue to feel like, well, I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't, but ultimately I may as well just reveal what's going on here and what I'm feeling and what I take from this situation. And I think that full moon in Scorpio can also serve you in an incredibly magnetic way. So with all of this creative spark that's going on, with April always serving as a powerful kind of launch pad for anything that's going on in your life, at the same time as helping to declutter, streamline, simplify things, you're also in a really great position through the course of the end of the month, as Mercury stations direct on the 25th, in that full moon Scorpio energy, to really create impact and really cause a stir actually in terms of what you're saying, what you've got going on, and trying to get people to think about things differently will be one of the main, I suppose, themes of how I see you presenting, expressing your energy self toward the end of the month. And again, whoever that may be, whether it's at work, within your family dynamic, relationships, friendships, it's that ability to say, like, you have to see this perspective, even if it's not yours. Like, you just, like, people are being a little bit fixed, I think, in terms of one way, and you have this ability to kind of just look at something very uniquely. And I think that's exactly what's required in this situation. So don't dumb down or shrink back or withdraw. Like, absolutely step out, because it will help people to release outdated opinions. And in the wake of it, it's also going to help you to realize how important what you have to say or your experience or what you've just been through is in this moment, okay? So it's not a month to force anything, otherwise frustration will get increasingly problematic, and you have to dismiss the self-doubt, because there's a certain element of you almost being kind of carried through parts of this month where you look at something and you feel, okay, that's impossible, I don't know how I'm going to navigate this, and then the energy changes so fast that it's almost like it's a problem one day and it's gone the next. So, you know, with that in mind, it's not a time to get yourself so wound up and so stressed out that you kind of shut down your ability to creatively problem solve or be an open channel for really wonderful solutions and benevolence and support and help to come your way, okay? Keep that strongly in mind, Aquarius. Now, if you're new to the channel, our last 3 cards we're going to cover in the extended version of my reading, talk for another 30 minutes or so, and we'll also look at a personal question and a relationship card for you. You can find that link below, and it's just a way to support my channel as well as hear more about the month ahead. I'm going to go ahead and just clarify the cards and see some of the messages we'll be dealing with for that extended reading as well. Now this month, my Sacred Soul Support, we are looking at a guided journey to elevate your prosperity consciousness, and we're also working with the asteroid goddess Juno and seeing how you can harness her energy. So you can find that along with my sacred titles, ways to work with me, all of the creative things that I put together to help you on your spiritual journey over on romywiser.com. So please do support me if you enjoy my work. So we're bringing through 9 of Swords, the World. We've got 6 of Cups, 5 of Cups coming in here, 9 of Cups. All these emotions, another 10 of Wands going on here. Somebody putting you in a position where you feel entirely obligated, but that in and of itself might be a bit stressful for you. You kind of feel like you're in a position where you can't say no, but you don't really want to do something or take something on. It's going to be an interesting one. Okay, 3 of Cups, we've got 10 of Swords, we've got Temperance. Let's pull one more here. We've got the Tower. Okay, we know these eclipse energies can bring about really powerful shifts. Like I said, you can create all the right conditions and then these curveballs still come through. 7 of Swords, the Magician. Something you're not seeing, you're not fully understanding about a situation early on in the month. That'll be interesting to see where we go with that. Okay, so let's have a look at Life Soul Vision Oracle, which is my own deck. So if you're new to the channel, Aquarius, please do check it out over on the site. Okay, we have Third Eye Energy. We've got Vortex of Boundless Grace. We have the Spirit Crane. We've got Golden Ribbons of Light. We've got Spirit Stag coming through here. And also the energy of Rise in Love. Okay. Oh, 2 came out. We'll take them. And then finally, let's pull a couple of additional oracles for you. So this is Aquarius for the month of April. See what is going to emerge. We'll cover these in the extended reading by way of messages. We've got loss, lack, fear, victimization. Okay, we'll see where that fits. And also an astrology card to come. What do we have here? Interesting, 234s showing up there. Okay, we've got Pluto and rebirth, of course, Pluto in your sign right now. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks so much for joining me, Aquarius. I hope you have a beautiful month and an invigorating month ahead. I'll see you again in May, and please do join me for the extended if you're resonating. I'll see you.